Good damn afternoon, Americans. Jericho Green here with you once again. Make sure you go to mygreengear.com. Brand new designs coming down the pipe. If you guys seen the George Washington / Jericho artwork that Shant did, I'm getting that on merch. It should be ready early next week. Fingers crossed. So please be on the lookout. I'll put a link in the description box to said website. And I just uploaded a video talking about the sentencing of the Buffalo shooter and how weird it was that he gave an apology in the first place. Racist as hell, white supremacist, kill black people. You're so racist, you write white supremacy on the murder weapon. But less than a year later, you're apologizing for your actions, and he blames it on the internet. He said, I believed everything on the internet, and I killed these people because they're black. Huh, really? Please check that out, jerichogreen.net. That is the only place you will find that video. So, I also wanted to talk about Moby Dick. Well, let me explain. Not like Moby Dick, the famous book, but the dude with the swimmer with the dick, right? I call him Moby Dick. They, the left, the idiots, the Kool-Aid drinking fuck faces, they call him Leah Thomas. So, he's the guy who transitioned into being a woman for a year or whatever and joined the women's swim team. Now, I found a thumbnail that I'm going to use for this video, and you've seen it already. When you Google Leah Thomas, those are some of the images that show up. That's Leah Thomas's crotch. That's a dude who wedged himself into a fucking women's swimsuit and swims against natural females in the pool. And there were other pictures of that same picture, but behind him. The one piece all wedged in his ass crack like he's a fucking girl. You can see his ass cheeks. Disgusting. I don't know about you, but a man's ass cheeks disgust me. Even if it's Mel Gibson, 1987, Lethal Weapon 2 walking around his trailer. A man's ass is gross to me. And it's showing his. Because he's in an outfit he shouldn't be in. So, I was thinking, I was like, man, Leon Thomas or Moby Dick, he's 6'1". Now that's above average for men. Well above average for women. And you look at these pictures and stuff, and he's towering over these women. And you can really see it in the pictures where he's standing in the middle on the fucking first place podium. That's where you can really see the difference. He's standing in the middle because he won first place, and they're standing next to him. You could see the height disparity. It's disgusting. You got a big-ass dude swimming against a bunch of shorter women. So there's this woman named Riley Gaines, and she had the nerve to get up there and speak against allowing a man to be in a locker room and perform or compete in women's sports. How dare she? How dare you? But the governor of Texas said, not here, and he banned transgender people from competing in sports against natural males or females. So basically, a transgender man is not allowed to compete against natural women, real women, because when you say trans, that might as well mean fake. Because if it was a real woman, you wouldn't have to say trans woman. You would just say woman, like we have been for tens of thousands of fucking years. So Texas says, if you're a man, you're born a man, you can't compete against women in sports. Now, Jericho, how come you didn't say you can't be born a woman and compete against men in sports? Because we know that never fucking happens. It's one-sided. We know that never happens. You are never going to see a born female transition into a man and be dominant in sports. And all these cases of men who are in prison that want to be Ku Klux Trans members and be housed in a female's prison, it's all men. You haven't had nairn a woman transition into being a man talking about, I want to go to a men's prison. And you know why? Because she would be a scrap of meat to a pack of starving wolves. She wouldn't last 24 fucking hours. So why is it so one-sided? Why is it like that? Because it's bullshit. So this girl, Riley Gaines, that evil person, she got up there and gave her account of having Moby Dick in the locker room. Having Moby Dick take spots away from real women in competitions because they got bumped for this fucking dude, for this swimmer with the dick. And she talks about how uncomfortable the girls were being in a locker room with a man, stripping down, butt naked so you can see his dick, watching them change. And they weren't notified. They weren't given a heads up. They were in there one day in the locker room. Next thing you know, they see this big ass dude with pigtails pulling his dick out. They weren't warned. They weren't asked for their consent. Hey, ladies, do you mind if I let a man up in here? And even if the shoe were on the other foot, they said, hey, fellas, you mind if we have one of your girl teammates come in here? Like, wait, what? Now, ultimately, would they have a problem with it? No, because men usually love titties. Hey, we love some tits and clam. But would there be a moment of, what the fuck is this? Yeah, because it's unnatural and it shouldn't be that way. You change in your locker room, we change in ours. You play in your sports, we play in ours. So I promise you, I will begin to take this Ku Klux trans bullshit sports nonsense seriously as soon as I see some women transitioning into being men and playing against men in sports. That's when I will take it seriously. Until then, it's a bunch of horse shit. It's a bunch of hogwash. And it's a weapon to pervert and twist and contort our society so we think that all the sick, deviant sexual shit they are into is cool. Until you're okay with their perversion, they are not done. You aren't going to see no woman going to a man's prison because they don't want to die. And you're not going to see a woman trying to be a man and playing men's sports because she doesn't want to get destroyed. Remember, Moby Dick was trash when he was swimming as a male. Once he transitioned to competing against the women, now he's Michael Jordan in the water. Now he's half shark, half human in the water against these women. And if you say that your size and length doesn't give you an advantage in swimming, you are lying to me and, more importantly, lying to yourself. Because I'm sure two swimmers, if one of them's 6'1" and the other one's 5'5", the one that's 6'1" is going to have the advantage. Longer limbs, longer strides, more power. I don't give a shit how long you take those fucking Flintstone vitamin hormones. That ain't going to do shit. And it only works in like 25% of people that take it. It's not like taking those hormones is a guaranteed way to transition you into the opposite sex. That's if it works. And how much is it going to work? It didn't shrink him. He didn't take that shit and end up being 5'7". He was still 6'1", still had a dick. And those girls are supposed to be okay with that. You need to be okay with a man undressing in front of you and watching you while you're naked. It's 2023, ladies. Get on board. Stop being evil feminists. You have to be okay with naked men around you while you're naked. If not, we have a bunch of phobe and is we would like to start calling you. Ladies, do better. Do better. But you know how it goes. I try to be done with the left, but they just won't let me. Please subscribe. Hit that notification bell because every time it rings, a piece of shit lefty cries. Utilize a Linktree link. Get your ass over to JerichoGreen.net and MyGreenGear.com. I am Jericho Green. Man, I'm out.